Delhi's mental health, but also the very spirit of a national capital that millions call home. Put simply, the Delhi AQI crisis isn't just a crisis of air. It's a crisis of power. People are tired of living in what often feels like an open gas chamber. They're exhausted with masks every winter, clockwork warnings every year with solutions still elusive. This exhaustion is not manufactured, but born out of lived experience, even for us, from the studios in Delhi NCR. So what will it take to clear the Delhi skies? Where the political discourse, remember, is also falling into the trap of personalized blame game. Case in point is the Lieutenant Governor Vinay Kumar Saksena's detailed letter to former Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. That letter accuses Kejriwal of a decade of criminal inaction on air pollution. The Aam Aadmi Party in opposition was quick to lash out, getting back at the LG with a caricature of him as Gajni, a direct jibe at LG's memory, also reminding him that fixing the pollution crisis is BJP's accountability. Interestingly, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari too added to the ruling dispensation's embarrassment, this by his own admission that Delhi pollution gives him an infection. So is there even any value in personal targeting, that too of Delhi's Chief Minister Rekha Gupta, or to even shift responsibility entirely to past administrations, whether those under Kejriwal or the late Sheila Dikshit? Because remember, Delhi's air quality index did not collapse overnight. It is the outcome of years of institutional neglect, weak enforcement, unchecked urbanization, increasing vehicular dependence too. Interestingly, Delhi has enforced 2 permanent GRAP-related vehicle curbs, both aimed at reducing emissions and controlling pollution levels. But will this suffice? So what is the need of the hour? Who is responsible? And is personalized blame a solution to Delhi's AQI? Those are questions that we'll be probing today. We wished, we hoped for cleaner air, but the numbers tell a different story. In just 5 days, air quality went from very poor to severe. From 234 on 25th of December, it only tumbled further and reached 401 today at 4 p.m. No wish erased pollution. Air pollution does not care about dates or decorations. It only responds to action. You can't wish this problem away, but unfortunately, our politicians don't understand that.
The air in the national capital has turned toxic once again. Over the last 2 days, the wind speeds have decreased and the unfavorable weather conditions are leading to a spike in the pollution levels across the city. To the latest forecast of the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, the air quality index in the national capital is likely to remain between very poor to severe levels for the next few days.
The pollution levels also were seen increasingly, in fact, rampant across the national capital. 19 monitoring stations that have clocked severe category AQI index across the national capital. But when we are speaking right now, from the morning itself, the worst air quality that the national capital has reported is also around 450 or over the 450 mark. And if my visuals can also show you right now, this is the anti-smog measure or the mist spraying that has been undertaken here in the national capital. This is the NDMC area as well. While the visibility has dropped to such low levels, but these measures continue to be in place because this is the NDMC area. And this is in fact the VIP zone. So these measures are often seen being practiced here.
On that note, let me introduce my esteemed panelists today. I'm joined in by Mr. Anil Gupta, who's a spokesperson for the Delhi BJP. Also joined in by Mr. Somnath Bharti, who's an advocate and Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson. Many thanks to you, gentlemen. Namaskar, sir. Mr. Gupta, if I may ask you, why hasn't institutional accountability been able to survive the kind of political transitions of the national capital from Congress to Aam Aadmi Party and now the BJP? The blame game is continuing with the LG himself writing that detailed letter to the former Chief Minister, Mr. Kejriwal, accusing him, also talking about how he would say that it's a matter of 14-15 days. The media would make a hue and cry about it and then it'll all be over. So you should also stay mum. What is the point of bringing in all of that rhetoric back now?
Yeah, good evening to you and all the viewers. See, air pollution is a technical subject. And what Rekha Gupta government is doing for last 10 months, we have identified the source. We are working on the elimination of source. And what Honorable LG has said, or what we have been telling, for 11 years ruling of Aam Aadmi Party, they have not worked on the elimination of air pollution. Everybody is aware that air quality index has 8 parameters. The 6 parameters are normally under control. It is the main culprit is particular matter 2.5 and 10. If you ask any scientist, they will tell you that what is the source of PM 2.5 and PM 10. Even today, the prominent pollutant is PM 2.5, and there is no denying that the air quality is severe today. It is 401. But if you compare the data of this year with the previous year or last years, this year we are able to achieve at least 50 to 60 points drop in the AQI around the year, particularly in this season. You may say it is still severe, we admit this. Now let me highlight some of the points wherein we are working on elimination of source. Now with a lot of debates are going on, everybody is aware the main culprit for PM10 is the dust and all these things. For PM 2.5 is the vehicles. We are working round the clock for dust mitigation, elimination. Elimination in the form of reducing the garbage, treating the garbage in waste to energy, enhancing our capacity, and even the legacy waste of 150 lakhs metric ton which was there, it has we are able to reduce. We are able to do biomining for 35,000. We have already committed that it will take roughly by the end of 2026 or early 2027 to eliminate all these things. We have made a strict measures on the pollution under control certificate, the vehicular pollution. We have increased our electric vehicles to 3,337, and we hope to increase. Already orders have been placed. It will be roughly 8,000 electric vehicles. We are increasing the number of monitoring stations for dust mitigation and for suppressing, for the temporary, just a minute, give me 1 minute. You have used, as you have shown in your screen, already 74 mechanical road sweepers are there working, 284 water sprinklers doing. But if you check the AQI today, there is hardly any wind speed today. There is a moisture. We know. I must admit that if around the year, except in the winter, we are able to achieve AQI of less than 200, then in winter it will be better. And one more thing, if you compare, when during the Kejriwal Saab period, every year Delhi got the tag of red letter day of history. That means the AQI crossed an alarming position. But this time,
Mr. Gupta,
year,
I will come back to you. Thank you for setting the tone of this discussion. And there's absolutely no denial in the fact that the deteriorating AQI of Delhi is not an overnight phenomenon. This, of course, has had to also. It was something that needed an all-year-round mitigation as far as pollution is concerned, which is why I want to quickly bring in Mr. Somnath Bharti. Mr. Bharti, why couldn't the previous government also ensure an all-year-round pollution mitigation rather than just a winter-fighting measure? And perhaps, the permanent curbs that have now been introduced under GRAP 4 could have also been done earlier. And that could have saved us time. Now, Delhi is racing against time.
Yes, see, I was very patiently listening, my dear friend Dr. Anil from BJP.
Appreciate.
The problem is the intent and the power. There are two things required. One is intent and second is power. Now, we had all the intent possible, but the power was curtailed by Honorable LG and the central government. We did what not. If you look at, Dr. Anil was saying about electric vehicles. It was Aam Aadmi Party government which started the electric vehicles policy. That time, around 17% of new vehicles in Delhi were all electric vehicles. We had increased the green cover from 20% to 23%. We had shut down coal-based thermal plants. We had shifted out 1,727 industries to piped natural gas. We had provided 24-hour electricity to ensure no generators happen. We had banned firecrackers that time, which they have lifted. We had ensured mechanical dust removers, water sprinklers, anti-smoke guns, they were all in place. But the problem here is, you need to appreciate what I'm going to say now. See, today, out of 100 topmost polluted cities, 65 are in India. Lucknow is one of them, topping the list. So they said what? Delhi is with me only for 9 months, 8 months. Sir, Lucknow has been with you for 9 years. Center has been with you for 11 years. And 17 out of 18 last years in MCD is with BJP. So by such excuses, please do not try to be fool. Why do we find Lucknow in the list of most polluted city? If you look at other cities of Lucknow also, UP also, they are also there. While Punjab, please, listen to this. Punjab was being accused of Parali. This year, Punjab reported 95% lesser Parali instances.
Okay.
Nitin Gadkari Saab said 40% comes from transports. See, 17 lakhs per year is the death figure as per Lancet report.
Mr. Gupta, how would
What
you
is the
respond?
government saying?
How would you respond
No
to
data
that?
available with us.
No, but I'm sure Mr. Bharti
No
will
data
also
available with us.
let him
Let me-
also
let me
respond. And
reply.
before Mr. Gupta, you
Professor
respond.
Guleria advised Delhi people to leave Delhi. Please, sir, we need seriousness. Today you have center.
Let's
you have Delhi,
also
you
talk
have
about
MCD,
the
you
lack
have
of
UP, you have
enforcement that
Haryana,
could have
you
taken
have
place
Rajasthan.
in the previous years, whether to do with the lack of clean energy transition or even industrial development or the uncontrolled construction activities. All of a sudden, we are expecting, say, a blanket ban on all of these activities. That's not going to happen, Mr. Bharti, but you've raised some very critical points, and I'd like Mr. Gupta to, in fact, respond to those.
See, Mr. Bharti is very learned, but he cannot give even a single point what Kejriwal Sahab has done for elimination of this particular matter. Still, he talked about
I
the
can
electric
list it out,
vehicles.
sir.
Sir, I did not, sir, you are a senior person. I did not interrupt you. Have patience to listen to me, sir. He talked about the electric vehicles. 1,700 electric vehicles were given by Modi government under FAME 2 scheme. They did not place the order. Now the fleet has been increased, and we hope to increase by 8,000 by the year end. He talked about the thermal plant. The thermal plant which are near in the Delhi NCR are equipped with a process called FGT, fuel gas desulfizations. They can go and check. All the parameters are controlled and monitored by CPCB. One more thing, he will not speak of that. Under the Modi government, we have achieved a milestone. As on date, 50% of India's power production is through renewable energy. We have a capacity of 250 gigawatt out of 500 gigawatt. This is the achievement. We hope to achieve this by 2030, but under the leadership of Modi ji, we have achieved. We need power, we need the electricity to run all these things.
But Mr.
And this
Gupta,
is-
we can talk about all of these milestones. What is the point when today we are dreading even peeping out of the window? You can't see anything. Flights are getting cancelled, and it's the same story
See,
repeating year after year. And
give me one more minute.
and I'm not going to only accuse or hold.
Give me one more minute. The pollution, air pollution has two types of sources: anthropogenic, man-made, and the natural one. We don't have a control in the fog. We don't have a control in the dust storm. But I must admit, in front of your channel, we are controlling the man-made pollution. The dust mitigation, the vehicular pollutions, the cleanness, the dust mitigations, the waste to energy plants, we are strictly enforcing, and it is not a one-day job. If you compare the data with the previous, we said it is Slightly better. I say, I admit,
Okay,
it is
okay.
not better. It is not better. I
Okay,
say.
Somnath Bharti wants to make a point. Somnath Bharti, before you weigh in, I also want you to weigh in on the kind of political noise that the Aam Aadmi Party has been creating. As you answer that, or come up with a response,
When
whether
he talked about the
whether it is
cracker,
to come
you
up
know,
with,
everybody has
Mr.
everybody has
Bharti,
seen
Mr.
when
Bharti, give me
Kejriwal got
30
released from
seconds,
the PI,
only
they just
30
got
seconds,
together.
sir.
allow me
Mr.
to
Bharti,
respond.
only, no, it's my time to speak. Gentlemen, allow. Mr. Bharti, whether it is to come up with a caricature of the LG as Gajni, or say even a skit insulting religious sentiments over Santa, it's just going to get your party members, whether it is Saurabh Bharadwaj or Sanjeev Jha and FIR. What good is it leading to, Mr. Bharti?
No, see, I mean, I can speak for hours on these things.
Yes, sure.
But the problem is, Santa being hit left, right and center, churches being destroyed left, right and center by BJP people, and there is no action there, no FIR.
How is that
Why?
related to AQI?
But
The skit
Santa
was about showing
was-
Santa fainting.
Just one, allow me. If you allow me to speak, then only I can speak.
Yes, but there has to be
See, the
logic,
problem, I
right,
don't
in
want
the
to do any politics
argument.
in this. I don't want to do any politics in this. The problem is pollution is killing us. Accept it first. And pollution will kill everybody who is biological. Except Mr. Modi, everybody is biological. So Mr. Modi is not bothered about pollution because not biological.
No, no, not
Dr.
right.
Anil
Don't
is
speak like this.
biological, I
Don't
am
speak
biological,
like
you are
this.
biological.
Don't speak
So
like
anybody
that.
biological will
You
die.
failed to deliver in 11
first,
years. Now you are
except
behaving like this. This is not the right.
I'm with folded hands.
He has
I'm
done lot of
requesting.
things. He has done lot of
Anilji, I'm
Okay,
requesting.
I
to the
can,
country.
I
I
have
can
two small
also.
children. I did not interrupt you, sir. I have two small children, and they're choking. Okay, you also will have small children at home. Question is, sir, the seriousness. How many meetings Honorable Prime Minister has had so far on pollution?
All right.
Why
all
can't
right.
he call a meeting?
All right, I can
Unless
see
he calls a
Arushi
meeting
Sana, who's
where
an
UP,
environmentalist, has
Rajasthan,
also
Haryana,
joined in.
Delhi, all are called.
Please,
You have
gentlemen,
problems there.
let's tone down the
You have
political
problems
noise. Arushi, I'm going to come to you in another minute. Please stay with me and bear with me.
Using where?
But Mr. Gupta,
On
Mr.
economic
Gupta,
session.
all right, Mr. Bharti, if I may just take a question forward with Mr. Gupta with regards to the centre's actions against this problem. The other big question is that why would centre oppose the move to reduce GST on air purifiers? Why not grade them under medical devices? It's shocking that the centre must even oppose it. Why not make it available to the Aam Aadmi?
Yeah. Let me explain 2 points. Under the National Clean Air Program, central government has given more than 30,000 crore to all the states. When more than 3,000 crore, 38 crores were given to Kejriwal Sahab, he did not spend on that. That's mitigation. And he talked about the Parali in Punjab. Who funded those machines? It was only central government. They did not buy those machines from their pockets. Under the stubble burning, you check the record. You are an advocate, check the record.
I don't
Check
care.
the-
I just
one more
want
thing.
to ask you about the centre opposing the move to
I'm
remove
coming on
GST.
that point. I'm coming on that
Or
point.
reduce GST,
You know,
rather.
is it, everybody know there is a GST council. It is not like I say or you say and you reduce. All the states are member of that. The tariff is decided by that GST council.
You can announce
Centre has not
notebandi
opposed.
overnight.
Centre,
Right, but can we
announce-
afford?
Centre has
Can
not
we
opposed.
afford
Let
this
him-
kind of
let him
delay?
announce it.
Okay, gentlemen, let's tone down the political rhetoric. The lady here, Arushi Sana, has been very patient. Let me quickly come to Arushi. Arushi, India is on its way to becoming one of the top 3 economies in the years ahead. At a time when we are competing, say, with the likes of China, what is the learning for India when it comes to China? China got into, say, clean energy. They also got into electric public transport. There was also data-driven, monitoring over there. Do you think India can learn something from China at the moment? Arushi.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should be taking help wherever it's required and, keeping our egos and political differences aside. I just heard the debate that both our politicians today have been up to. But, the problem is that there's no point in getting into a political blame game because ultimately, you have to talk about the fact that there can't be selective outrage and selective political-driven environmentalism. Why is it that we are only talking about Delhi? Because just today, the AQI has touched 500 in parts of Tamil Nadu and Kashmir as well. So why are we doing a blame game here? And why is it that only Delhi has suddenly come into the focus? Because this has been a problem for the last 20 years.
True.
And I think that even this outrage is actually very late because, these kind of discussions, this outrage should have happened 10 years ago. But okay, the fact that it's happening now, I think I do see a little bit of incentive. If I look at it from an outsider's perspective, I do see that, the government has decided to start banning diesel and petrol for the PUC, for vehicles that don't have a valid PUC. They've shut down 400 industrial units immediately for violating pollution norms. They've launched new vehicle testing stations.
All right. I'm afraid I'll have to leave it at that, but I just want to leave you all with some food for thought. Remember, clean, fresh air to breathe, the right to breathe is a matter of public governance. It is also the state's responsibility to ensure that we have clean air to breathe. To retreat indoors is not the solution. Thank you so much, Arushi and the gentlemen, for joining in on this discussion. With that, shifting focus over to Bangladesh as it remains on the boil. The attacks on Hindus in Bangladesh have not ceased even after the merciless mob lynching of garment factory worker Dipu Chandra Das. At least 5 houses of Hindu families were set on fire by mobs in the Pirojpur district over the weekend. Add to that Pakistan's constant engagement with Bangladesh's interim administration, and that's a recipe for disaster. In fact, sources have told CNN News 18 that Pakistan has been maintaining continuous contact with the interim regime as well as political groups opposed to former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Intelligence inputs reviewed by CNN News 18 allege that Pakistan is actively maneuvering Bangladesh's political landscape by extending support to opposition parties, including Khalida Zia's Bangladesh Nationalist Party and Shafiqur Rahman-led Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami, just ahead of the polls. Reports further claim that Pakistan's intelligence agency, the ISI, is suspected of providing covert financial assistance to these groups. Allegations that Islamabad has not publicly responded to. But it does seem like after decades of distancing, Pakistan and Bangladesh are warming up again. This year, the ISI chief, Lieutenant General Asim Malik, visited Dhaka for the first time in decades. Pakistan's foreign minister landed in Dhaka in August this year. That was the first visit by a Pakistani minister after 13 years. Reports claim the ISI is running a cell inside Pakistan's Dhaka mission. Behind-the-scenes talks of a mutual defense pact are also underway. And what's even more shocking is that Pakistan's envoy met with Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus just yesterday. Both sides decided to resume direct Dhaka and Karachi flights. Pakistan's Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir is also expected to visit Bangladesh in January. Then comes the rhetoric. A PMLN leader has threatened India, claiming Pakistan will stand with Bangladesh if India goes to war with them. Is this a coincidence or coordination? What is Pakistan's ISI doing in Bangladesh and what will it mean for India? Let's quickly bring in our guests tonight. All right, I'm joined in by Smriti S. Patnaik, who's a research fellow at the MPIDSA, and also joined in by Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry, who's a Bangladeshi journalist. Many thanks to you both for joining in. Shoaib, I want to also ask you, you've been deeply probing the ISI angle in Bangladesh. As you've always said, that it never began with tanks and fighter jets, it was always with the rhetoric, and we can see that kind of political noise emanating not just in Bangladesh but also from Pakistan. What do you make of this information warfare at play by the ISI?
Thank you very much, Akanksha. You see, this time what we are witnessing from Bangladesh, that Pakistani ISI and its military establishment, they are using the social media to directly mislead the people of Bangladesh. For example, few days ago, on a Facebook page, there was a post by so-called D Times. And the D Times, it claimed that we Bangladeshis are considering changing our flag. Then I digged into this information about D Times, and it was found that there is no such existence of anything called D Times on the web. Instead, it's a news, it's just a Facebook page run from Pakistan. I have provided the phone number also in one
And
of my articles.
we are flashing images of that very page that you accessed for the benefit of our viewers. So viewers, what Shoaib is also stating is that there's the number on this particular page which shows the Bangladesh flag merged with the Pakistani flag, and that number comes from Pakistan. Shoaib, please continue.
Yes. And then there was another propaganda immediately after the murder of Osman Hadi. It was another obscure Pakistani website. I never heard of it. Definitely you have never heard of it as well. It says that the killer behind the Osman Hadi is Indian Raw. Clearly it said. Then when we digged into further to this matter, we saw this obscure website has suddenly become extremely active in boosting all the posts on social media, particularly Facebook. And this, the website is based in Lahore, and the owners of this website, only two people, a man and a woman. There is no journalist, nothing. And they are continuously publishing anti-India propaganda on this website, targeting India and Bangladesh. I mean, this is, I have written somewhere that it is run by Pakistani eyesight.
Okay. I quickly want to bring in Smriti also on that note. Smriti, what began as a possible thaw between Dhaka and Islamabad after the July uprising soon seems to be turning into a deeper, more coordinated realignment and engagement, as we've seen how after decades the ISI chief, Lieutenant General Asim Malik, visited Bangladesh this year. There are also credible inputs to establish the fact that there is an ISI cell operating out of Pakistan's High Commission in Dhaka. What do you make of these developments, this realignment, and what will this mean for India's Eastern Front?
I would say that this realignment is not surprising at all. It was expected, especially after Hasina's exit, that Pakistan will be active on India's Eastern Front, which it used to be active some time back prior to Hasina being elected to power in 2008 during the BNP regime. We also know that the kind of activities the ISI was involved in. So therefore, I would say it was not surprising, and it is, as you were saying, you know, the ISI chief visiting Bangladesh, there is this defense cooperation agreement, and of course, currently they are speaking of resuming the flight between Pakistan.
So as recently as yesterday, that kind of engagement.
Yes.
Also, what's extremely surprising, Smriti, I'm sure you could weigh in on that, that when it's not a mandated government, you are looking at an interim government. Interim governments don't engage so much diplomatically, as we've seen Pakistan reaching out to the interim regime and the interim advisor, Mohammad Yunus himself.
I think the interim regime is operating in an extremely anti-Hasina kind of agenda, and anti-Hasina and anti-India some of the time becomes same. So I am also equally surprised. The mandate of the interim regime should have been to initiate reforms and hold the election and lead. And yet the interim regime is doing all kind of foreign policies which will become, you are putting a foundation of a foreign policy in a particular direction, which becomes very difficult for a person, the next elected government, to go back unless until there is a deterioration of bilateral relationship. One has seen the demand of changing the national anthem, the Victory Day, which is generally celebrated in Dhaka. For the past 2 years, one doesn't see the celebration of the Victory Day. So, and there are also rhetoric which speaks about the kind of role which Pakistan played in terms of its atrocities. It's not mentioned now. It is much more mentioned about like you cannot give the slogan of Joy Bangla because it is seen as Awami League slogan, not the slogan which inspired many of the people who fought the freedom in 1971. So it's a very different kind of situation which actually has created a kind of ecosystem where Pakistan establishment is not only flourishing, but also at the same time we see the rise of Islamists. Because
that's an interesting term, I think. It's an ecosystem that has been built upon over here. So, Shoaib, who stands to benefit from this ecosystem? Is it Mohammad Yunus or is it the BNP? There seems to be a secret back channel understanding of sorts. Clearly, all of this is going to cast a shadow on the upcoming February elections. Will this also sort of engineer a hung house? What is your expectation at the moment from the upcoming polls? Will they even happen?
Akanksha, as you know that Pakistan's main agenda is to recapture Bangladesh and turn it into East Pakistan. So, if you are asking me who is the beneficiary is Pakistani ISI and Pakistan. In that case, both Yunus, BNP, Jamaat Islami, and all other elements, including the members of our armed forces, they are willingly or unwillingly playing the role of mercenaries of the Pakistani regime, Pakistani establishment. And if you ask me how my army is also involved into the role of mercenary, I will clearly say that when they are understanding that the Pakistan has already launched a full-blown media war against India, signaling the possibility of beginning a war, a physical war very soon. And when my army is silent, when my army is even inviting Pakistan to begin a joint venture project and by undertaking our Bangladesh Ordnance Factory and produce Shaheen 2 prototype missile in Bangladesh. So definitely in our army is also being very much dragged. If not dragged, I should actually use something else, but they are dragged into the trap, and they are also serving the purpose of Pakistan. And they understand that they are possibly serving the purpose of China or any other element that is not India. They are holding a kind of the anti-India sentiment into their mind.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, they are actually destroying, causing tremendous damage to my country's sovereignty and independence.
Smriti, what would this mean for India's porous borders? Because we all have enough evidence to be aware of the fact that over 1 million Rohingyas have been raised as Pakistan-backed Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army. You're looking at India's Eastern Front being compromised. What are the challenges ahead for India's Home Ministry?
I think India is going to face severe challenges in terms of infiltration that may happen, that may take advantage of the porous border.
And terrorism. Let's not forget the free hand given to radicals who all have links with the ISIS and the Al-Qaeda.
Yes, you probably must not have forgotten the Bardhaman blast, which by chance, because the blast went off, we could see the JMB. Once action is taken against the JMB in Bangladesh side, they are operating on the Indian side. So the porous border, as you said, is one of the biggest challenge. And along with that, the insurgency, Northeast insurgency, which has lied dormant, and Indian government has been negotiating for peace. And so in some of the places, it has been achieved. They have reached a kind of agreement with the insurgent groups. So there will be this tendency, especially Pakistan will encourage and will provide support to insurgent elements operating in the northeast. So there are also some news report regarding Paresh Barua shifting his base from China to Bangladesh. So Bangladesh has always provided as I was speaking of the ecosystem, has provided that kind of environment where this kind of element can very safe, will be given safe haven and will be operating inside India. So it's a kind of replicating. As I agree with all the attempt is being made to make Bangladesh former East Pakistan. Not in terms of, I'm not speaking of sovereignty. I'm not speaking that East Pakistan, it will become the former East Pakistan in terms of sovereignty. It will remain Bangladesh, but it will operate as East Pakistan in terms of the political and strategic ecosystem which Pakistan always wanted to have in East Pakistan.
Okay. Quick closing thoughts, Shoaib. Do you think that the killing of Hadi was manufactured only to drum up anti-India rhetoric, given that diplomacy is already failing? Yesterday, we saw a very sharp attack coming from Dhaka's foreign ministry. They have questioned India's facts and figures, especially when our spokesperson shared that figure of 2,900 documented incidents of violence against minorities. That includes Christians, Buddhists, apart from Hindus. So if the Meghalaya police, if the BSF have already gone on record to dismiss reports that the killers of Hadi crossed over to the borders, why is Dhaka making these claims? And if they do disagree with India's figures when it comes to documented, say, episodes of violence against minorities, come out with your own facts and figures. But there, they've maintained a strategic silence.
Akanksha, we are hearing the voice of Islamabad via Dhaka. And that is what it's saying, that Hadi's killers are in Meghalaya, whatever, Ramu Hills. But in reality, I can say on record that both the killers of Hadi are currently, just now, they are inside the Pakistan High Commission's first floor, which is called Dhaka Cell. They are very much inside road number 71, Gulshan, Dhaka. They are inside the Pakistan High Commission, and they were used and hired by Pakistan High Commission to assassinate Hadi for a political mileage that Pakistan is already getting, and to somehow destabilize the country's situation, and to how to say, never hold any election in this country. So I'm repeating, the killers of Hadi are not in Meghalaya. The killers of Hadi are inside Pakistan High Commission in Dhaka, road number 71, Gulshan. At first floor, there is a cell called Dhaka Cell, and both of them are there. And if Pakistan has the courage, let them deny my claim. I will come up with some strong evidence.
All right. I will await a response coming in from at least Bangladesh's foreign ministry with regards to the claim you've made. It's a very bold, sweeping claim that you're making. Perhaps will also shut all the anti-India voice, the noise, the rhetoric that's coming out from Dhaka. But we'll have to leave it at that since I'm running short of time. Many thanks to you, Smriti Patnaik, and also Shoaib for joining in. Appreciate your unabashed views here as well. But with that, now shifting focus over to another big story we've been tracking at this hour and all day, as Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, remember, is all set to meet with US President Donald Trump in Florida tonight. He will be discussing the fragile Gaza truce plan and Iran's nuclear program. The meeting at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort aims to move forward with the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire, which also involves disarming Hamas and demilitarizing Gaza. However, Israel is insisting that the remains of a final hostage are returned from Gaza before the second phase begins, though it also knows that Hamas may not be able to find and return all the remaining dead hostages. But this meeting comes as Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian has also warned of a full-scale war with the US, Israel and Europe, stating that Tehran is facing unprecedented pressures. He mentioned that Iran's military is now much stronger, adding the West's war on Tehran was more complicated and more difficult than the country's war with Iraq back in the 1980s. He also added that if the enemy chooses confrontation, they will naturally face a more decisive response. So what lies as far as the future for Gaza and West Asia is concerned? We spoke to Israel's envoy to India, Ambassador Reuven Azar. Let's listen in to what Ambassador Azar has had to say. I'm joined in live by Ambassador Reuven Azar, the Israeli envoy to India. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for joining in on CNN News 18. US has played a key role in Israel's security. What can we expect from the upcoming meet between Prime Minister Netanyahu and the US President? Why is the Israeli Prime Minister of the view that only a military conflict with Iran is the solution to lasting peace in the Middle East?
Well, this is yet another meeting of the Prime Minister with President Trump. They have been meeting every 3 months, and this is the manifestation of the very high level of coordination we have with the United States. I think that, again, we want to be sure that our policies continue to be in sync, both in the de-escalation of the situation in the Gaza Strip. I must remind you that the 20-point Trump plan talks about dismantling Hamas militarily, and we want to make sure when we move to the second phase, after our last hostage comes back, that we will have a path for stability in our region. That means Hamas renouncing power in the Gaza Strip. So this is one thing. The other thing, when it comes to Iran, we believe that we have a diplomatic way out of this conflict. Iran was the one that initiated the attack against Israel following the 7th of October, and they attacked us with more than 900 ballistic missiles. So Israel is not interested in going back to the conflict, but we have to make sure that Iran renounces their two-layered plan to eliminate our state through either a military nuclear program or through the massive assembly of ballistic missiles. So that's our concerns, and I'm sure that that is these are two of the subjects the Prime Minister will discuss with President Trump.
Ambassador, the Iranian President Pezeshkian has said that Iran is at a full-fledged war with America, Israel and Europe, and that none want Iran to stand on its own feet. How would you respond to his statement?
Well, I think that the Iranians are concerned now as a result of the fact that they have been exposed, and that not only their military nuclear program was destroyed, but also the EU has snapped back sanctions on them. So, the international community is pretty unified, including following the last meeting of the IAEA, that Iran has to go back to compliance. They can do it immediately and engage with the international community in a diplomatic path that will make sure that they do not engage again in these illicit activities they were engaging before the war.
Ambassador, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar has stated that their country will only send troops to Gaza for peacekeeping but not participate in disarming Hamas. Is it not disturbing for Israel's security efforts in Gaza to have Pakistan and Turkey, both historical allies to Iran? Can we expect Prime Minister Netanyahu to convey his concerns to the US President regarding the Gaza peacekeeping force?
I'm sure it will. Look, we are interested in countries that can conducively support the effort to have a stable situation in our region. We are not interested in players that will come and contribute to radicalization of elements within Palestinian society or be complicit with terrorist organizations. So that is certainly not in our interest, and I'm sure the Americans know it very well. And if necessary, the Prime Minister will mention that as well.
So leaders unanimously agree that Gaza must be demilitarized and Iran should be kept from rebuilding. But with Hamas digging in its heels, Hezbollah rearming, what is the focal point for the next phase of the Gaza peace plan?
Well, we'll have to see. I think that we have been discussing this with our American friends, and a lot of diplomatic pressure will be necessary in order to make sure that Hamas complies. We saw that only after that kind of pressure we been able to bring back our hostages. So if we don't get enough pressure on the diplomatic front from the international community to execute the plan, then there will be only military means left as a precursor for advancing our interests. We are not interested in that. We prefer diplomacy. Diplomacy works, and we trust our American friends that they will do the utmost effort to make the plan work. Now, you mentioned Hezbollah. We are in the process of trying to make sure that Hezbollah doesn't rearm and regroup. Unfortunately, the Lebanese government hasn't been expedient enough when it comes to dismantling the Hezbollah infrastructure, and that gave us no choice but to take action ourselves. We prefer that the Lebanese government executes its resolution to dismantle Hezbollah. This is what will work for the future of Lebanon, and I think we need much more support for that.
Sure.
from the international community as well.
So the IDF has fact-checked the 42-page document that was shared by Hamas denying the civilian killings during the October 7 massacre. What's your understanding of this classic Hamas playbook of denying facts and their own brutal actions, all of them that have been documented on camera?
Right. Well, I'm not surprised. Hamas is not only committing these atrocities, but also trying to deny them. There is enough evidence. We regret the fact that some of the international organizations actually have been backing these ridiculous claims by Hamas. But I think that people that are decent enough already have been exposed to the vast evidence, as you mentioned, of the atrocities committed. This is something that we must remember, because the deeds of Hamas are now becoming an inspiration for jihadi elements all around the world. And if we want to isolate these events and make sure that they don't happen again, we have not only to condemn Hamas, but also to further expose these reports about the atrocities that were made.
So the Bondi Beach shooting shows ISIS threat not just in Australia, it's expanded all the way throughout South Asia, including India. Is the world united enough against terrorism?
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. The world hasn't been united enough. We haven't been doing enough work diplomatically. We haven't been doing enough in order to de-radicalize populations, in order to stop those who are disseminating hate, promoting hate. And we must do more with governments all around the world. We are doing that with India. I think that both India and Israel have been a victim of terrorism. We understand very well what are the implications, and we are determined to fight it. But I haven't seen enough support from the rest of the international community, and this is an ongoing effort that we have to make.
Like Jews, Hindus continue to face targeted violence, persecution, mass killings. Latest case in point is, of course, Bangladesh. What's Israel's stance on violence against minorities that's taking place unabated, especially since the July uprising of last year?
Well, we are not going to allow international political interests to undermine the rights of minorities. And we have shown that very clearly when we intervened to save the Druze minority in southern Syria that were being massacred by the supporters of Julani, of the current ruler of Syria. Israel is not going to stand idly by. We are protecting minorities within Israel. We are trying to do our best to protect minorities in our neighborhood. And we are joining hands with India, with different organizations here, to promote the interests of minorities and to safeguard their rights under very, very difficult circumstances that are not only in Southeast Asia, but also in West Asia and in other places around the world.
My last question, Ambassador. The international community is aware that in Bangladesh, the Jamaat is a puppet of the ISI. Apart from the inflammatory rhetoric by Pakistani politicians blaming India for the anarchy in Bangladesh, there's also credible evidence that Pakistan is running covert operations through an ISI cell at its Dhaka High Commission. What's your view on Pak agency's role in fanning anti-India sentiment in Bangladesh?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have much influence on what's going on in Bangladesh. We are more concerned of our region, and this is our immediate concern. But of course, this is something that we have to follow very thoroughly. I think that there are different players that are trying to radicalize population in Bangladesh, not just those that you mentioned. There are other players like Turkey, for example. And this is something that we have to be, I think, expedient enough to coalesce with more countries in the region in order to, and outside the region, in the international community at large, to try to reverse the trend, because it's a very concerning trend indeed.
All right, Ambassador, thank you so much for joining in on CNN News 18. Here's hoping that the new year will arrive with a new dawn of peace for Israel, for India as well, and for all of South Asia. Many thanks to you for joining in. US President Donald Trump had a busy 2 days of foreign diplomacy. Just last night, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with Donald Trump at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida to discuss a peace deal to end the war that was started by Russia. The 3 hours of talks gave hope and optimism, but will they yield actual results? We dig a little deeper. The US President Donald Trump and his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky have held talks in Florida. Interestingly, both sides have shared optimism about the progress. According to Zelensky, the two delegations have reached broad alignment on most elements of the 20-point peace plan. That includes political arrangements, security commitments, and the follow-up steps. He also thanked US envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Ukrainian officials Rustem Umerov and Andrei Hanatov. What's important to note is that security guarantees remain a central element to this emerging peace plan. In fact, Zelensky has shared Trump's offer to host Ukrainian and European leaders in Washington. A meet expected to take place in January as part of the next phase of the talks.
So, in your conversation with President Putin, did you discuss what responsibility Russia will have for any kind of reconstruction of Ukraine post an agreement?
I did. They're going to be helping. Russia's going to be helping. Russia wants to see Ukraine succeed. Once, it sounds a little strange, but I was explaining to the president, President Putin was very generous in his feeling toward Ukraine succeeding, including supplying energy, electricity, and other things at very low prices.
We discussed all the aspects of the peace framework, which includes, and we have great achievements, 20-point peace plan, 90% agreed, and US-Ukraine security guarantees, 100% agreed. US-Europe-Ukraine security guarantees, almost agreed. Military dimension, 100% agreed. Prosperity plan being finalized, and we also discussed the sequencing of the following actions. And we agree that security guarantees is the key milestone in achieving lasting peace, and our teams will continue working on all aspects. We also had a joint productive call with European leaders, like President Trump said already, and a lot of leaders, including NATO and EU. And we agreed that our teams will meet in upcoming weeks to finalize all discussed matters. And we agreed with President Trump that he will host us, and maybe in Washington, European leaders and Ukrainian delegation, yes, in January, and Ukraine is ready for peace.
So even as Zelensky declared that Ukraine is ready for peace, he demanded the peace agreement to reflect the Ukrainian position. Here's what the 20-point peace plan has covered so far. In terms of security guarantees between US and Ukraine, 100% have been agreed upon, and broader Europe-US-Ukraine guarantees are almost agreed. With regards to military issues, Zelensky has said that the military dimension were fully agreed. All of this as prosperity and recovery plans for Ukraine are still being finalized. What remains unresolved? Despite progress on security arrangements, the issue of territory remains the main obstacle. This, as Trump said, some land may be up for discussion in the coming days, meaning differences over areas, including the Donbas region, are yet to be ironed out. Remember, Donbas is not just rich in minerals, it's home to one of the largest coal reserves in Ukraine. It remains the biggest bone of contention of the Russia-Ukraine war, because Russia seeks Donbas for strategic, economic, and symbolic purposes. In fact, Russian President Vladimir Putin has made it amply clear that no settlement ending the war can happen without giving Russia full control of the Donbas. But Zelensky too is digging in his heels, sticking to Ukraine's stance on territorial concessions, which the Ukrainian president maintains is very clear and grounded in Ukraine's law and the will of its citizens. In fact, there was no decision on a ceasefire timeline either, raising the big question, will Kyiv and Moscow be able to align positions on territory and timelines? Perhaps a constructive engagement from European partners in the coming phase could ensure the much-needed breakthrough.
is News18 Network. India's largest news network.
Namaste, Jai Hind, Vande Mataram. Welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan. Weeks after Justice Swaminathan passed the historic judgment allowing the Deepam to be lit at the Deepathoon at the Tiruparankuntran temple in Madurai, he's spoken out after much tussle, turmoil and discord over his landmark order. The Madras High Court judge, Justice G.R. Swaminathan, expressed personal disappointment over the issue. Now, speaking on the controversy, Justice Swaminathan said he wondered why the Deepam issue was repeatedly being linked to him. He said he had initially felt happy when he heard that the arrangements were being made to light the Deepam. However, later he learned that the lamp would not be lit on the Deepathoon pillar, which left him disappointed. The DMK maintains that Justice Swaminathan is backing a particular ideology and he is speaking like an RSS man. The state government had no objections when the flag was hoisted atop the Dargah on the 21st of December, but raised questions when it concerns Hindu faith, and that too a matter that passed the test of legal scrutiny and had an order not just from Justice Swaminathan but also from the division bench of the Madras High Court. Now, as the state gets away with appeasement, will there be divine justice soon with the lighting of the Deepam on the Deepathoon? That's the question that we ask, because Justice Swaminathan also said the same, that I believe sometime in the near future the lamp will be lit at the Deepathoon too.
இந்த தீபத்துக்கு என்ன பொருத்தம்னு எனக்கு தெரியல. உங்களுக்கு எத்த போறாங்கன்னா அந்த தீபத்தை ஏற்ற போறோம்னு கிளம்பினேன். உடனே யார் நம்ம தான் நினைக்கிறேன், ஐயா நீங்களே ஏற்றக்கூடாதுங்க ஐயா, உங்களை ஏற்ற அனுமதிக்க மாட்டாயா, உட்காருங்க அவங்க இடத்துலயே அப்படித்தான். உடனே ரொம்ப ஏமாற்றமா போயிடுச்சு எனக்கு. பரவாயில்ல, தீபம் ஏற்படி நான் வரும் உறுதியா நம்புறேன்.
This is News18 Network. India's largest news network.
Our air to breathe. To retreat indoors is not the solution. Thank you so much, Arushi and the gentlemen, for joining in on this discussion. With that, shifting focus over to Bangladesh as it remains on the boil. The attacks on Hindus in Bangladesh have not ceased even after the merciless mob lynching of garment factory worker Dipu Chandra Das. At least 5 houses of Hindu families were set on fire by mobs in the Pirojpur district over the weekend. Add to that Pakistan's constant engagement with Bangladesh's interim administration, and that's a recipe for disaster. In fact, sources have told CNN News18 that Pakistan has been maintaining continuous contact with the interim regime as well as political groups opposed to former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Intelligence inputs reviewed by CNN News18 allege that Pakistan is actively maneuvering Bangladesh's political landscape by extending support to opposition parties, including Khalida Zia's Bangladesh Nationalist Party and Shafiqur Rahman-led Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami, just ahead of the polls. Reports further claim that Pakistan's intelligence agency, the ISI, is suspected of providing covert financial assistance to these groups. Allegations that Islamabad has not publicly responded to. But it does seem like after decades of distancing, Pakistan and Bangladesh are warming up again. This year, the ISI chief, Lieutenant General Asim Malik, visited Dhaka for the first time in decades. Pakistan's foreign minister landed in Dhaka in August this year. That was the first visit by a Pakistani minister after 13 years. Reports claim the ISI is running a cell inside Pakistan's Dhaka mission. Behind the scenes, talks of a mutual defense pact are also underway. And